How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to ReWrite. So we're in the path. I've had a lot of fun with the last episode, and also I've had a trip to Canada since the last episode. Thank you so much for being supportive, and I'm just excited to be back here. It was a really good trip, FYI. It was really fun, and it was nice to finally be able to say I got to leave my own nation of birth and go somewhere different. Was it really that big of a step when all things considered? No. But you know what? It's meaningful to me, and I'm glad I did it, so it was really fun. But we're going on from there. I just wanted to say thank you for your support, especially because I had to kind of put aside at least one video, so well, we'll get to it. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, and here we are in the training center where we've technically essentially joined the Guardians, but it turns out that despite the fact that we have powers, we're like the weakest of the people here in the training course, and Nishikujo is actually a part of our training group. So she was like a teammate member. Here, let's get a good look at her. She's part of our team directly, which is crazy because it's also kind of implying that we're the same age as her when we meet her, and that's a little strange, especially because, you know, I'm sure we'll get it fully explained to us for sure, but you think if she knew who we were and she knew how old we were, unless like there's a really like, oh, you literally didn't age for a while or something, which again we're gonna have to see, why would she so encourage us to bond with Lucia or Shizuru? Or specifically Lucia, though. Like in Lucia's past, she's very much kind of encouraging that relationship. Granted, Lucia really needed a relationship like that, but all things considered, it's like, it kind of makes it weirder now knowing that she was so much more intimately involved with us. And that's the thing, is like, that's not even like an intimacy type of thing. It's more of a just like, she understands our background far more than she implies. She talks about us in those storylines. I mean, there were little hints maybe she'd know a little bit about Kotarou, but at the same time, I really didn't get that impression. Not the same way that Esaka does. Like Esaka, when we first met him, there was a little bit of an oddity about like, oh, you don't know who I am? Oh, okay. Like, and he introduces himself. But like, it was almost like he was a bit like taken aback that Kotarou didn't remember him. But Nishikujo, it seems like she also should react like that. Maybe she did, and I'm just not remembering it, but it just seems weird. Anyway, though, other than that, yeah, it just seems like this is a bit of a drama-filled type of experience for him. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out and where this leads, because I'm not sure how involved he gets. Maybe the whole incident where he goes into the forest and eventually has the accident that leads to his, you know, partial reconstruction was brought about by him being on a mission with Guardian rather than simply being out in the woods. Because that almost makes sense. And he got injured, and maybe the injury wasn't falling out of a tree, but was being attacked by a familiar. I don't know. Well, we'll get to it, I suppose. Anyway, let's get jumping right back into it, because I'm excited to see where this is going from here. Your moves are too obvious.
だからよ、パワーもスピードもねえんだからさ、ちっとは考えろって。
正直、どう言っていいかよくわかんない。
Dang, so we're really holding the team back, huh? Even I'd get worried after losing this much. Any superhuman has more than just power and speed. Their senses should be much greater than average. They should excel at making split-second decisions, maneuvering, and having a strong sixth sense for danger. As humans, their movements and reactions should be exceptional. I can't find any openings. If I have to attack,
あれ、やるか。
the ability to gain the power I want. My ability. I recall the lectures we had before.
超人の多くは固有の特技を持つ。目から光線を出したり、投げたトランプを爆発物に変えるような能力ではないぞ。
Ironically, that throwing playing cards that explode is not too far off from Nishikujo's ability where she's throwing daggers and stuff.
そこ 中年予備軍の再訓練組笑うな。こういう言い方しかないんだ。先天的な特化技能のことだ。狩猟系と呼ばれるグループの超人は狩りがうまい。いいか、極端にうまいんだ。これは恐ろしいことだぞ。うまい絵を描く者は絵心のない人間から見れば魔法使いに等しいだろう。
That's a decent analogy, actually.
極端かつ病的に特化した技能、それは魔法のような固有技能とみなせる。弓のうまいものなら百発百中は当たり前。イルヤに意図的に空気抵抗をかけるなどして意のままに曲射を行う者もいる。ほとんどの場合、一人一つの固有技能に目覚める。
Okay. So they're kind of explaining the basic lore, which is interesting because it seems like it's almost like the power scaling is so odd because they make a point of showing how Kotarou is a very strong, very fast, capable individual and how he's like so scared of pushing himself because he's worried he's going to become too inhuman if he keeps pushing the accelerator. And yet, even after he pushes the accelerator pretty far, and he's clearly capable of doing some remarkable stuff that most people would consider superhuman, he's like bare bones, basic, like just qualifies for Guardian kind of person, where most people look at him, they're like, shame, really just not that strong. Now, we kind of see that with Shizuru and Lucia, right? Like, they're crazy powerful, but it's just so interesting that the power scaling can be so extreme, and yet they try to make such a point to make it feel like Kotarou is in danger of losing anything that makes him remotely human. And then also the oddness of how in the Chihaya route, he's able to push it to the point where he is super strong, where he can then take on the strongest familiar and actually have a chance of winning, and being like the only person who can. So he's capable of becoming incredibly strong, but it's weird. Like, does that make sense? Am I sounding like a crazy person where it feels like the scaling of this series is like the one thing I'm seeing as a kind of a failure? And it's weird to say it like that, but genuinely it's very, how do I put this? In a lot of my favorite media, scaling and power has proper perspective. You can have really powerful people and warriors and heroes, and you can have really powerful villains and monsters and demons and all of that, but context is really important, and I feel like if we don't have much frame of reference, it can be difficult to understand, oh, this is a really powerful person, this isn't a powerful person. And it's actually one of the big issues I have with Lord of the Rings, which is really odd to say because I do love Lord of the Rings and the world building. But because the magic is so vague and so, like, soft, it's like a soft magic system, it makes it difficult to understand things like, oh, Gandalf can solve this problem because he has magic, or, oh, Gandalf can't solve this problem because he doesn't have magic. Like, in the Mines of Moria, when they're exploring and traveling through, it feels like before the Balrog attacks, like, they're in danger from a pack of goblins, but then he goes toe-to-toe with a fire demon Balrog and wins. I mean, he does die technically in the process, but still, it's like, do you see that scaling problem where, oh, like, we fought like a warband of goblins and they seemed like a genuine threat, even to Gandalf, and then Fire Demon from and Servant of Morgoth. It's like, oh yeah, he could take it. It's realistic for him to be able to take that thing down. That's like, okay. It makes sense when you really go into the deep lore, but still, it's so odd and can make it difficult to put Gandalf on a power scale in that universe of understanding what is he capable of, what is he not capable of, and that's the same thing I'm getting with Kotarou. And maybe that's kind of the point. Again, Lord of the Rings is a good example of how you don't need to have set definitions for this type of stuff to be able to make it a compelling story, and this is a compelling story, but it still bothers me. Anyway, sorry, I've been rambling for too long.
稀に2つ以上の能力を発現させるマルチホルダーもいるが、まあ例外だな。もしこの中で自らの固有能力をすでに見出した者がいるなら、
体液を操るのが固有能力として、じゃあこの超能力の方は何なんだ?
Yeah, that's true. He's like, wait a minute, why is this different? Maybe I'm one of those rare double skill holders? I don't know. I could improve my standing and basic physical fitness without training. Could that be considered an ability?
能力を教えろ？バカじゃねえのおめえ。清水教官も言ってたろ？可能な限り報告しろって。あれは報告したくなかったらしないでいいって意味なんだよ、タコ。おめえちょっと甘いんじゃねえの？てめえがレアな汚染系だからって狩猟系の俺を舐めてんじゃねえよ。
I don't particularly dislike Imamiya. I do! Even though he swears like a sailor and never shuts up. The ability to improve my physical capabilities just by wishing for it. I guess they could consider it an ability to rewrite? But there's one strange part about my rewriting. I can become as strong as I wish. It's far too convenient. In all honesty, I've never had any trouble with PE or sports. And I have yet to pay the price for any of that. Can I cheat like this and really exist? If I keep rewriting myself, then I could probably catch up to Imamiya and Nishikyojo. But what exactly is the cost of that ability? And I do get that. That's a fundamental, like, it's actually a really cool that they have a main character who actually considers these things and considers, like, limiting himself because he's worried about what happens if he pushes it too far. A lot of times it feels like people have to push it too far and then realize their mistake. And I like that he has, from day one, been so concerned about, like, essentially abandoning his own humanity that it held him back even when it could have helped him succeed in such a pressured situation where he's literally looked down on for being the worst of the worst. And he could probably change that in a heartbeat. But he's like, I don't know if I should do that. I feel like I could lose something important if I do. As long as I wish for it, I can become stronger. What exactly is supplying the energy for that? Thinking back, I always feel a little anemic before and after rewriting. It's as if my stamina is being sucked away. I'm losing something. It's whatever I'm losing that makes me stronger. Isn't it the same thing for, like, so summoners, when they use their abilities, they're using their life essence. Didn't Akane explain that technically the superhuman abilities is the same? You cannibalize your own life force to expand and, like, push your physical capabilities in the present. But, you know, you're gonna die a lot younger because of it. And that makes a lot of sense, that you pull from your own, like, future almost, in a way.
危険だ。
It isn't something that can be used haphazardly. When we were marching, I amplified the oxygen capacity of my blood, increasing my endurance beyond my own limits. This is something I became able to do without having to rewrite myself. If it's something that I can handle myself, then I shouldn't strengthen it on a whim. Okay. So, he was able to expand, like... Now, the amplify the oxygen capacity of blood, that does sound like something that happens because, like, in real life, if you train yourself, like, people who are physically very, very active have low resting heart rates because their hearts are strong enough. They don't have to try as hard to get the blood to circulate. So is that what he's referencing, or has he attained a superhuman level of oxygen capacity within his blood? I'm not sure. It's hard to know. There will come a time I have to use this. And right now, it doesn't feel like it's the time to use it.
そうさ。自分の力でやるんだ。
Oh, that's interesting. He doesn't see rewriting as his own power. I wonder why.
Yeah!
The rubber training ball that Nishikyojo threw bounces off the wall and hits me in the back of the head. Determination alone isn't going to get me the win. Early morning training. After getting up before anyone else, I come across Esaka with Instructor Shimizu.
Esaka さん、どうも。
天王寺か。調子はどうだ？
調子は悪いですけど。
Yeah.
バカ、何言ってる？
お久しぶりです。
訓練生たちの様子を見に来た。
俺、期待裏切ってるかも。
そうなのか？
俺の成績、もう見ました。
ああ。
だったら、見ての通りです。
現時点での順位だと何にもならん。必要なのは成績優秀者ではなく戦力だ。
それって？
清水、私が連れてきた駒だ。少し指導するぞ。どうぞどうぞ。
そんな不公平はまずいんじゃ。
どうしてだ？
江坂さん、人気あるみたいだから、俺みたいのが独占したら、みんなが気にします。
Aw, that's actually a pretty cool response. Be like, he's probably, it's also probably because he realizes that if squad mates hear about this, they're gonna give him crap for it. But at the same time, at least he's trying to be like, hey, well, why can't you just help everyone else too? At first, a fist smashed into my face. It hits me hard enough to send me crashing to the floor. Hot blood trickles down my nose.
卑屈は捨てろ。卑しさが貴様をクズにする。
Yes, sir. Apparently I was wrong. I was in the wrong. I thought it was a respectable position to take.
すいません。
I can't process what just happened. Even teachers nowadays don't hit their students. Not that this is a school, of course. It's a stark reminder that I'm no longer under anyone's protection.
根本から叩き直す必要があるな。来い。
He drags me away like some object.
出血が治癒しているな。
は？
その止まり方は不自然だな。
I have a habit of stopping my bleeding without realizing it. If hiding your ability is more beneficial, then I should change that habit.
俺の能力です。
正直だな。
別に、江坂さんにバレてもいいんで。
バカ正直だな。
Esaka sheathes his blunt-edged sword without a sign of caution.
こちらからは仕掛けん。貴様から攻めてこい。
Oh, look how cool he looks. Man, no wonder he was so popular. He's really strong and he's stylish. I mean, that's a good combo.
その前にちょっといいですか？
どうした？
これ、長すぎて振り回しにくいんですけど。
The training knife I got is long and a little difficult for me to handle.
そうした感じは大事にすることだ。好きなものを選べ。
はい。
Even if I fight against him head on, I'm not winning. I need a plan. Ooh. An actual choice in my ReWrite Terra run? What? Although, is there a right answer here? But I think the best thing for us would be a projectile. Like, it probably won't work. I think either case we're completely screwed. We already have a close range weapon with the dagger, so I think a projectile gives us a better advantage personally, because then we have two options. It would be better if I attack him from a distance. I rummaged through the weapons locker lined up along the walls of the training room. I was hoping for some kind of non-lethal training machine gun or something like that, but there's no sign of anything along those lines. Since that didn't pan out, I instead searched for a non-lethal training rocket launcher. That's not here either. Okay then, non-lethal training anti-personnel mine?
重火器はないぞ。
ですよね。
Guess that leaves me with...
これでいいです。
ナイフか。仮に技能が互角でもリーチの分不利になる。適切な武器の選択とは言い難いな。
そうですね。なら、必殺技も使います。
ふむ。こちらには手品は使うなということだな。
そこまでは言いませんけど、興味ありますし。
死ぬがいいか？
Maybe not. He replies nonchalantly, as if you were just asking if he could grab a fruit loaf on the way home.
すげえ嫌です。
私は伐採系だ。能力は切るか外すかで手加減というものがない。
I see. There's no safety setting for his power. And I'm guessing it's one of those things where, like, he literally could take like a piece of bamboo and slice people into pieces. Like, it doesn't matter that it's a blunt weapon that's not all meant to slice. He could just make it slice. Despite muttering something awfully dangerous sounding, Esaka doesn't get into a fighting stance.
それくらいの実力差があるということね。さて、どう攻めよう。
I stand before Esaka and consider my offensive options. He's not in a stance. Despite that, he doesn't have any openings as expected, I guess. Attacking, or rather, the physical motion of attacking, still isn't ingrained into my body.
どこか、とっかかりはないのか。
I look closely. Various mental simulations of attacking flash through my mind. From the left, right, head on. On top of that, the stance style sequence of attacks faints. The combination of all these things becomes an infinite number of branches, a swarm of choices that can be called a realm of possibility. Which route is the correct one? I have to ascertain which. it's all gonna fail. Like, I can't see how any of these is better than the others. Gaining some distance, we have a close range weapon. We don't gain anything from gaining distance unless we have a plan for range. If we don't have a plan for range, then we really, like, we only are, like, giving him the opening to make an attacking move. Not that it'll matter. So either we attack from the front, which sounds just dumb, or we jump in, which at least sounds somewhat productive, but he's just going to see it coming a mile away. So we're going to jump in. Oh, okay, so it's like a branching set. I actually kind of like the idea of like using, like tossing the knife aside as a distraction to get close to hand to hand, which, like he pointed out, the knife is but here's the problem. The knife is a bad weapon because it has bad reach against what he's wielding, which is much longer. And so, while it's a good distraction, it really only makes the reach issue worse. So maybe it's not so great an idea. I don't see how we could use our ability, especially if we haven't been practicing with it very well yet. So I don't think that's a good idea. Use dirt to blind him. I don't think it'll work, but I think it has merit. Or just flat up using the knife, which again we know we have a disadvantage with. I think dirt. Mixing some feints, aim for anywhere that can hit, or aim for a vital spot. That's tough because in this case, mixing in some feints, I think feints work only when you have the speed on your opponent, and we won't have the speed. I don't think we could even hit him anyway, so let alone feinting. Aim for anywhere that I can hit. I think that kind of makes sense, but it's not like you're gonna make a whole lot of headway in your fight. Aim for a vital spot. Honestly, probably the best way to be taken seriously. I don't think we'll be able to hit him, but I think we need to try and go for a vital spot, because otherwise we're expending our energy on blows that, even if they connected, wouldn't do anything. Like wouldn't be progressive for the battle. You could argue that even getting hit like on a finger can make it easier for the fight later down the line, but we're talking about superhuman people. I don't think minor hits are going to do much good. Some feints. It's either feints or aim for a vital spot. But again, I just don't think we have the skill for feinting yet. I think we just need to put the pressure on and maybe look for an opening after we see him actually like engaged. Barrage of attacks or one decisive blow. I think we're gonna have to try for a barrage, even though I feel like it's gonna probably just expend more energy. But one decisive blow, as cool as that sounds, it's a all or nothing gamble. Actually, I don't know. Maybe that's the right approach. Maybe it's got to be an all or nothing type attack. Otherwise, we're just gonna lose. So make one strong hit. All right. Here's hoping this works. Abiding by my choices, I make my move. I wonder if there is a right combination. I'm sure I didn't get it.
参りました。
Didn't work at all. It was an absolute failure. I couldn't even lift a finger against him.
もう一回お願いします。
よかろう。
10 more rounds, 10 more losses. In the end, Esaka didn't even use his blade. While still dealing with the weight of his sword, he completely blocked my attack with a single arm. What an overwhelming gap in our skill. I felt utterly futile, like trying to destroy a boulder with a pile of straw.
ここまでか。
はい。
限界まで力を出し切って、初めて技が向上する瞬間が訪れる。最後の一回。
やり。
I whipped my body back up.
いい目だ。普段の貴様は思考がネガティブ寄りだな。
Yeah, so did mine. Isn't that normal?
そういうマイナス感情は我々のようなものには危険だぞ。
Oh, good thing I'm not one of you then.
今はマイナス気分じゃないです。
I feel like trying to nab a skill or two from this old man.
結構。
I think to myself, I ought to prioritize learning rather than winning. This is a valuable experience. Perhaps even more valuable than live combat experience. Let's give this all I've got. Interesting. Again, no actual choice here. Oh yeah, but these are the choices I faced before, so it's going to be the guided path, the path that we're meant to take, despite the choices. So it's going to actually talk to me about like what we should have done from the right, which wasn't even an option that was available at the time. Use the knife, okay. Or was it available? I don't think from the right was available, but use the knife was. Erase my presence, that wasn't something that we could do. And try to land one decisive blow. Okay, so I got some of them right. One particular. Timing, footwork, speed, agile, angles, breathing. The various elements that comprise a single movement combined to a series of movements. I leap toward Esaka's left hand. He isn't moving, he plans on defending. I focus on one point that looks to be the most vulnerable.
Wanaka.
No, it's not. It's not a trap, I'm sure of it. Then I'll attack there! I quickly close the distance. Esaka turns his upper body, dodging my attack. At the same time, the palm of his sword rams into my gut. Ow! Forcing me to bend over and fall to the ground. Yet again, he finishes the match in a single strike. I'm helpless. He probably held back quite a bit. The pain in my stomach recedes quickly enough. So what was that hide my presence? Like, what was that? Like, what was that? That's interesting.
はい。
横に回られた時、貴様の驚異度が変わったように感じた。偶然か？
自分なりに考えた作戦でしたけど。
能力を使っていたか？
いや、全く。
なぜ左側に回った？
Now that he asks, I'm not sure. It was a flash of revelation. Would that be a valid answer? That was almost prophetic to me. If someone else could just be nothing more than my intuition. Now that's interesting, because like, with the light flame guiding, like, maybe that is our instinct, but it's simply an echo of the understanding of the diagram from Moon. Maybe that's what the flames represent. It's our instinct guiding us based on knowledge of the whole plan, trying to keep us on the right path. And that's what that is.
なんとなくです。
There's really no other way for me to answer. His eyes look scary.
まずい判断でしたか？
いや、むしろできすぎなくらいだがね。理由がないとなれば偶然か。随分と嫌な感じだったか。
そんなに良かったんですか？俺の攻撃。
いや、クズだった。小手先の技に頼りすぎだ。意表をつきたいのはわかるが、危ういな。
But I feel like we have to compensate. Like, my argument for that would be like we have to compensate because we're at the bottom of the rung. We don't have raw strength to rely on. We have to use tricks.
攻撃はシンプルに力強く行え。駆け引きや心理戦を前提にするな。
それは真正面から突撃するのが一番いいってことですか？
諸突猛進をしろというのではない。効果的な打撃を短時間に集中して加えること。シンプルで効果的な火力運用こそが実戦の基本であり奥義だ。
That's true.
なるほど。
同情試合とは違う。効果的な力押しがものを言うのが実戦だ。このこと忘れ。
The techniques of Esaka, Part 1. So my threat level changed. That means the difference in power between Esaka and I had lessened, if only for a fleeting moment. Can't even wage a guess as to why that happened, though. Just that we were facing off, there was a brief instant where I knew exactly what to do. The idea, a flash of inspiration, as short-lived as the firework. I suppose it could be written off as nothing more than coincidence, but that flash of inspiration could mean the difference between life and death. Anyone would think the same if they see a light when they're lost.
自分でコントロールできたらな。
なんだ？
どうすればもっと役に立てる人間になれますかね？
私もかつて役立たずと呼ばれていた。
Really?
江坂さんが？
今でも運動能力では三国にさえ劣るはずだ。
嘘でしょ。
だがそれはあくまで英雄としての話だ。兵隊に求められる資質は英雄のそれとは全く異なる。
Okay.
超人は傲慢なものだ。英雄になりたがる。だが私は兵隊として自分を鍛えた。
Okay, I see.
天王寺、 英雄になるな。兵士であれ。それが貴様の生きる道となる。
Be a soldier. Is that what leads us eventually to fighting in, like, the Middle East? The Bayern Knights of the Green Sword. Rumor says that they're the strongest fighting force within Guardian. Bayern. Yeah, Bayern. They're the ones who saved me in the forest. Apparently, they're a tactical training unit. It's a team that formulates, demonstrates, and teaches combat techniques to superhumans. Esaka serves as its leader, too. In his younger days, he served as a mercenary in war zones. He was also instrumental in the process of establishing private security division at Guardian. Since I've been getting personal training from him, people have started openly saying I'm his favorite. And I honestly don't care. The truth is, I need his training, partly because I can't drag everyone else down with me. I dive into training during the day and read through the manuals in the evening. I've never studied this hard, even when cramming for a test the night before. I'm driven by my determination to fill in what I lack. Without a doubt, I'm a polluter-type superhuman. My type's strength is its wide range of adaptability. Even if it doesn't directly lead to greater combat strength, it often has a breadth of abilities.
派手さには欠けるが、工夫次第ではどんな相手とでも渡り合える。
My enthusiasm helps to bridge the gap, and I managed to progress to a point where my evaluation is now on par with the guys. Not much, but it's a good effort in only a few weeks. I head into my 4th week of training. They introduce a full curriculum of fights against familiars. 2 of the instructors are dressed up like lion dance costumes. The premise is that we're supposed to team up and get rid of the lion-like familiars that are holed up in the buildings. So wait, the lion dance costumes, is that like the stuff you see in parades? Since it seems like a joke, everyone takes it lightly. Imamiya takes it the least seriously.
楽勝じゃね？獅子舞ってハンデもらってるようなもんだべ。
そうなのかな。教官2人相手にするってかなり無理だと思うけど。
でも実力は発揮できないはずだよね。
そうそう。
そうとは思えないんだけど。
あ？なに？天王寺先生自ら貴重なご意見でも？
ねえよ。
あ、そう、お疲れ。
待って。言ってみなよ。
いいよもう。
あんたのそういうところ、
Yeah,
ちょっとイラつく。
I kind of agree. She literally just said, let's at least hear what you say. And he's like, nah. It's been a while since she lashed out at me like that.
言いたいことあるなら言ってみたら？
いいえよ。聞いてやるし。
あの獅子舞、ハンデっていうか、同サイズの魔物を再現してるわけだろ？
いや、そうだろ。そんなの見りゃわかるし。
そういう意味じゃない。
どんなだよ。
教官たちの動きは制限されるだろうけど、その分本気は出してくると思う。
どうしてそう思うの？
あのサイズの魔物って半端じゃない。虎の魔物がいたとしたら、そいつは実際の虎より強いよ。俺たちにそのことを指導しようとしてるんなら、やばいと思うよ、この訓練。
That's a good point. He's got it there.
怪我人一人二人くらいで済めばいいけどな。
喝を入れるためにってこと？
まあ、そういうこともあるかもな。
経験者は語るってこと？
Everyone sinks into silent thought.
確かに一理あるね。
訓練中に死んでも大丈夫なようになってるもんね。
Oh, fetch. That's a good point. Ooh. Uh-oh.
勇者様のご敬願はさすがっすよね。雑魚じゃなければ。
I really don't like you. Suddenly, I hear a window shatter. Someone falls to the ground. It's someone from one of the squads participating in today's training exercises. It hasn't even been 3 minutes since they went in. He barely manages to fall safely, but his entire body is thoroughly beaten. He writhes in agony.
おい、マジっすか？
Even we'd die if our spines snapped in two. If our internal organs are ruptured, we won't make it. I can already feel the danger from the training exercise. The lion pops its head out of the 3rd floor window.
気抜くと死ぬぞ。気をつけろよ。
The other trainees have been chatting like they were out on a little excursion, but that silences them.
おい、ウォームアップしといた方がいいんじゃね？
そうだな。くそ、マジでそういうことなのかよ。
次、今宮藩、来い。
ちょっと待っといてくださいよ。
早く来い。
くそ、行くしかねえ。君らマジで頼む。
Oh, yeah. Now you're not all chuckles and jokes. We arrive at the entry point of the training exercise. Oh boy.
あーくそムカつく。
無理だって。
We leave the building bruised and battered. We didn't even put up a fight. We were ambushed and everyone was considered dead. He was holding back from the start, but there's still nothing we could do.
予想できてても対応できなきゃ意味ねえよな。
天王寺、次からは気づいたことはもっと早く言いなよ。
え？
そういうの言わない方がみんな迷惑すると思うし。
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I guess he's just like frustrated and probably doesn't want to feel like he's bothering people, especially because he's, you know, considered the weakest, but she's got a really good point. Like, we're far past, it's the same thing what happens in the military style training from the Mudlove. It's like, we're past the point where we need to let ourselves be held back by decorum or public perception or whatever. Like, we're supposed to be a team, and this could be life or death. Like, you notice something, you say it. You have a thought, you say it. If they tell you to shut up, you shut up. But like try at least.
わかった。
Like they said, I should have spoken about my concerns based on my earlier experience. That way, the rest of the team might have had a stronger sense of danger.
よー今見生き残ってんじゃん。
お前にしちゃよくやったよ。何その上から目線。君ら全員同じ浮き目よ。
いや、お前でそれなら俺らもっと検討できる。
おかげで安心したわ。おお、言う。一応ね、最下位グループなりに連携つもうさ。
Despite being the lowest ranked group, he still manages to keep his connections and make friends. He isn't the central figure he used to be, but it's still a pretty big deal.
俺、本当に超人なのかな？
I wave away the negative thought in my head. Esaka warned me about that too. I ought to be more arrogant. Interesting. Oh yeah, because like, isn't the whole idea that you draw power and strength essentially from your determination to like become the best, essentially? Like you reject the world and become like like greater than the world. That's like the attitude that drives people to being superhuman. And so thoughts of like doubt and like derogatory nature would actually be antithesis to your own power. It would like literally be like kind of pushing you back towards being just a normal person. Ooh, that's a kind of fun idea.
向上してる。少しずつでも。
But I also, with that in mind, I actually think it would really suck for someone like me to be in Guardian, because by nature, the people who are going to be the strongest are going to be the people who are the most just annoying to be around. Gotta think positive thoughts to encourage myself.
マジかよ。
The trainees are all abuzz. Everyone's attention's focused on the training building. Mikuni's group has already returned despite just going in. He's triumphantly holding up a couple lion heads that look totally smashed up, laughing all the while.
おお、ミクニッチやる。
Dang.
さすがエリート地球人は違うわ。
I guess they beat the 4 instructors. The instructors in question file out of the building looking embarrassed. I'm not the only one improving. Everyone else is too. I recall the fable of the tortoise and the hare. Story goes the hare got careless. But what if the hare didn't slacken up on the race? The tortoise would have never caught up. And in this world, there are countless hares who don't slack off. Our basic training course is complete. So we managed to survive, but it makes it Nagai, she's struggling, it seems. I wonder what that's going to be heralding. On the night of the last day, the organization prepared a small party for us. No diplomas, though. All we get is the knowledge our training is finished, and our skills have more or less improved along with it. We didn't have the budget for it, so all we get are cheap eats and equally cheap dessert. But after the provisions we went through in training, everything tastes amazing. Though I never opened up to anyone about it, I did kind of enjoy the experience. From here on, we'll be deployed to places that need us and join in local operations. We can participate in even more advanced training while still on duty wherever we go. You go through life honing your skills and delivering results. That's the life of a superhuman, or of a hunter.
いいかお前ら。ルーキーの仕事は、現場で右往左往して迷惑をかけることだ。
Huh.
だから、迷惑をかけていけよ。
Even the instructor's talking crazy.
いやいや、俺は実戦で輝くタイプですから。
Sure you are. Imamiya is chattering with his old friends.
ちょっとやめてよ、こういう時にナンパとか。
Nishikyujo, being as cute as she is getting cat calls from all over. Yeah, it's true. She is actually... She's probably the most attractive person here. It's like a bunch of underclassmen confessing their feelings to their seniors who are graduating. Both their skills have improved drastically. Thrown into a real fight, I have no doubt they'll perform swimmingly.
そういや、長井はどこだ？
All the things said and done, we've still been through a lot together as the worst team. She's been on my mind a bit since our personalities are kind of similar. I look around, but there's no sign of her.
天王寺、やっているか？
江坂さん。
どうした？晴れの日に浮かない顔をして。
江坂さんにはいろいろ良くしてもらって感謝けど、あまり向上できなかったような気もしてます。
本当にネガティブなやつだな、天王寺。だが、慢心するよりはいいかもしれん。
慢心する材料が見つからなかったです。全く能力が上がらなかったわけじゃないんです。けど、他の連中もちゃんと腕を上げているから。
いいか、天王寺。
Esaka rests his hand on my shoulder.
いろいろな生き方、役立ち方がある。確かに三国など突出した才を持つ者はいる。そうした者を組織は重用しもする。
Yeah.
そして同時に三国自身も己が選ばれたものだと自覚する。こうした者は自分で全てを判断してしまいがちだ。
そうでしょうね。
Imamiya and Nishikyujo are probably the same way. The only ones who aren't are me and the guy, I guess.
それでは良い兵士とはなれん。どれほど英雄を要していようと、独断専行を良しとしては組織としては成り立たん。
I mean, he's got a point there. It's the too many chiefs, not enough Indians type of situation, which I turn a phrase I kind of hate actually because it's odd connotations, but essentially it's that idea of like you can't like it's almost like an office or building. Like we're always kind of work for that promise of like getting the raise, getting the promotion. We all are fighting for it, but at the same time, you can't. Like there's only so much like structure you can have in management and promotions and positions of authority, but the majority of the jobs need to be towards the lower part of the triangle pyramid of like a building structure of an organization, and there should be we should be able to treat the people who are on the lower half, the workers, should be treated with dignity and respect because the entire like structure can't stand without the foundation. And so we've gotten so used to this idea of like always pushing for higher, but not recognizing that, yeah, you know what? Sometimes we need people who are just always towards the bottom doing the grunt work, as we call it. But that's because it's fundamental to the whole organization.
右往の衆となりかね
ん。なら俺は、そういうことはないはずですよ。
それでいい。能力は人より数倍程度あればよい。兵隊はそれでいい。今の貴様でも資格は十分だ。
Only a few times.
俺でも。
Only a few times greater.
でも俺、戦闘用の魔物なんて倒せませんよ。
I've taken down scouting and spying familiars when I used to play hero before, but those don't even have any real fighting ability in the first place.
連携で倒せばいい。そういうことが得意な者がアタッカーを務める。
なるほど。
そう気落ちするな。これでも褒めている。
Esaka lowers his voice. It's so faint that even those with extremely sharpened hearing won't overhear.
近々、風祭りで大きな作戦がある。このキャンプから相当数の者が参加することになるだろう。
風祭りでですか？
あの土地は古来より重要なガイアの聖地だ。成績表のことなど気にするな。貴様の居場所はきっとある。
でも俺。
I didn't get along with my team. Can someone without any teamwork really work well as a superhuman soldier?
江坂さん、こっちにも来てくださいよ。みんな話したがってるんですから。
なあ、すまんな。今行こう。
外国の話、聞かせてください。
ああ、構わんぞ。
そういや、江坂さ
ん。どうした？
長井がいないみたいなんですけど。
へえ、君知らなかったんだ。
Mikuni makes no attempt to hide his amusement.
いや、
チームメイトだから言えなかったのかな？
どういう意味？
長井は辞めた。
Hmm.
どうして？
限界を感じたそうだ。
でも辞めてどうなるんです？
The organization even okay with that?
関連会社で事務の仕事をするという道もあるが、彼女はリタイアを希望した。
Okay.
組織から離れるということだな。無論家族の元には当分戻れないし、監視もつくが、いくらかの条件を飲めば脱退は可能だ。
Dang.
長井が。
生地狩猟者の資質を持つ者は挫折に弱いことがある。貴様は折れるなよ。
After a pat on the shoulder, Esaka walks over to Mikuni and his crew. So she's just done. Kazamatsuri, huh? Feels like it's been years since I left, when in actuality it's only been a few months. I've never been away from my hometown for this long. The city feels surprisingly chaotic. Delivery trucks come and go, people move to and fro at a dizzying pace. That's right, it's time for the Harvest Festival.
では3日後9時、本部に出頭するように。
After dropping me off at the station in his car, Asaka speeds off. Mimiya and Nishikyujo are still in the back seat.
さて。
Kazamatsuri is apparently Gaia's holy land. I've been told this many of Guardian's agents have already infiltrated. I never knew the truth behind my hometown till now. It just feels removed from reality, like it's all just made up.
どこ泊まるかな。
I can't go back to my house. I was specifically given orders not to. I mean, I disappeared and all. At least that's how things are supposed to be. That means I'm not Tennouji Kotarou. I confirmed the passport given to me. The name given to me by the organization is Kazamatsuri Bond. Kazamatsuri? Really? Weird. And Bond, really. That pseudonym's way too on the nose. Not even a pseudonym, it's supposed to be my real legal name.
いいのかこれ。怪しまれないか？
It says I'm 20 years old, which means I can drink beer and smoke cigarettes. I could stay in an internet cafe, use a capsule hotel instead. I've got money. The annual salary for us superhumans is a pretty hefty sum, even if we're just starting out. I suppose it makes sense since in exchange for a lifetime of freedom. I've already received something like a deposit. Even though it's just part of this year's pay, it's a huge amount of money. That also means I'm already one of Guardian's agents. Okay, so I guess if I were him, I probably would do like temporary accommodation. Unless we know this is going to be our deployed area, because then he should just get an apartment. Feels like I'm one of those spy movies.
言い忘れていた。
Oh.
だ
Asaka's car returns, literally bumping into me. I'm sent flying, crashing into a wall. A normal person's internal organs would have ruptured, but thankfully I'm alright. It's nice being tough. It's also nice that superhumans are allowed to follow anime logic.
危ないじゃないですか。
そのくらいで死ぬわけがなかろう。
That's not an excuse. That must have been a crazy scene. Here's hoping no one saw that.
ねぐらは決まっているのか？
いや、特には。
当てはあるのか？
漫画喫茶とかネットカフェで過ごそうと思います。
漫画喫茶とはなんだ？ネットカフェとは？
Okay, boy.
ですね。
Oh, that's more of an okay boomer moment. I explained the manga cafe is.
なんだその施設は。今はそんなものがあるのか？
いや、普通に昔からあります。
健康センターのようなものか。
For sweaty nerds, sure.
はい。
A sort of affection for his protege shines in Asaka's eyes.
利便性、娯楽性が極めて高く、戦士の疲れた魂をも癒してくる完成されたレジャー施設。健康センターは会員宿泊施設としてベストオブベストだ。このこと忘れるな。
I'm glad you feel so strongly about this.
はい。
The teachings of Esaka Part 2.
それを知っているなら何の問題もない。
そうか。
では3日後だ。盛り場をさまよって変な女になど捕まるな。
Strange women?
そんな解消ないです。
誰もがそう言う。子供の一人もできてから私に泣きついてくるのだ。
Wait, how many times has this happened to you? The Esaka car speeds off once again.
本当にないんだけどな。
First off, let's tidy ourselves up. I want to look like an average Joe at least. My hair's all frazzled, my clothes all wrinkled. It looks so shabby, I'm bound to be suspected. There's also a chance I'll bump into someone I know, and I need to be careful and change how I look. Ooh, that's playing intense music. All right, let's play it out a little longer. I heard I'd do it at a random clothing store. It's the first time I've been into an expensive-looking place like this. I can afford to throw 6 figures around, so I might as well. I buy a light gray suit to fit it on the spot. The high-class fabric drapes against my skin just right. Feels light, and I'm wearing pajamas. I don't know though, man. That's gonna rip the shreds the instant you get into a scrape. I get some shirts to go with it. I go for a pale blue striped shirt that feels gentle to the touch, as well as another 2 spare. Might as well get some leather shoes too, something easy to walk in. All in all, the bill totals to 120,000 yen. It's pretty, geez, that's a lot of money to just drop. While the shirts are brightly colored, it's surprisingly almost hidden by the jacket and serves as just an accenting splash of color. I think this looks pretty good.
体めちゃくちゃ引き締まってんだな。
Thanks to the training, I suppose. Without even realizing it, my entire physique has changed. The sales assistant even seemed convinced that I'm an athlete and heaped on the praise. It's nice to get a compliment by someone. I give both payment and thanks and leave the store. After that, I go into the unisex hair salon. I tried heading into a few other stores that seemed okay with walk-ins, but several turned me away. I have no idea what hairstyling trends are like now. Just that I'm sure it's different from what it was before. It's been months, it can't have been that changed. Instead, I try for a hairstyle that I've never seen before. While giving me a haircut, the stylist comments repeatedly on my musculature. After finishing touches, I check myself out in the mirror. It's like someone else's reflection entirely. That's clearly not me. That way, I shouldn't get recognized even if I run into an old acquaintance. I again give both payment and thanks and leave the store. I buy some glasses. I pick a plastic frame, something that's distinct looking. If I play the guy in glasses persona, then there'll be less of a chance my identity will get exposed. Well, you're going Clark Kent, huh? With that on, I look like some kind of comedian.
お客さん、マッチョないい体してますから、体当たり芸がいいと思いますよ。
I feel like you might be going a bit too far with the glasses.
滑ることを恐れてては、動きの芸はやれませんからね。
Even the store clerks thinks I'm a comedian now. I give payment, but none of the thanks this time when I leave the store. Alright, guess I look the part now. In addition, I use my abilities to temporarily change the look of my face. Manipulating my body fluids, I tweak my lymphatic system a little. I pump out my outline just a little tiny bit. Now I look pretty dang different. Like a completely different person if I do say so myself.
俺は伝説のスパイ、Kazamatsuriボンドだ。
It sounds so ridiculous, and I wish we could see what he supposedly looks like. An old dude pops up from a toilet stall in the park bathroom, catches me making some poses in front of the mirror and looks at me weird. I'm a completely different person, so I'm not embarrassed. This honestly feels pretty nice. Liberating, in a sense. It's like this new me can do anything I couldn't do before, anything I want.
よし、宿を決めるか。
The operation shouldn't take very long. It's not like I'll be in Kazamatsuri forever. After all this is over, I'll end up assigned to a different job. Someplace temporary should be good enough. For the first time in my life, I check into a hotel. It's one of those so-called business hotels. I head up to my room, and I'm surprised to see how luxurious this sort of solo accommodation is, at least in my eyes. It's a little cramped, though.
これがビジホか。
The sun is still up, so I decide to head out. I grab a hot dog and cider from a food cart and devour them in the park while I watch the crowds pass by. I enjoy my long-awaited slice of freedom. I've got a place to stay, a few more days before my operation, and money to burn. That alone is enough to create the illusion that I'm a real honest-to-goodness agent. Dangerous, though. Don't spend that money too fast. I wish I could share this feeling with someone. Suddenly, I remember I don't have anyone I can actually confide in right now. My mood does a 180, and now I feel cold and empty. I try to encourage myself. We're just getting started here. I'm going to do a good job and earn people's trust. I should already be ready to take my first step.
長井のようにはならない。
Did you say Naganai?
長井のようにはならない。
No, so he says Nagai and then Naganai as a different part of the phrase of not going to turn out like. As I renew my resolve, I notice a little girl staring right at me. Oh no. Oh. Hello, Akane. Dang. I've seen that face before. I get a little closer. There's a little card inside the plastic case hanging on her chest. Seems like it has her name and contact information. Senri Akane, if you see this girl walking around on her own, please get in touch with me here. Cash reward to be given. Children's foster home. Enshi House Representative Fuku Iko. Phone, da-da-da-da.
茜じゃねえか、こいつ。
I remember her. How long has it been? Akane rarely showed up in meetings in the first place. The Japanese Martel Group. The organization is actually one of Gaia's fronts. Most of the members don't even know what's behind the scenes. Akane shouldn't be an enemy of mine.
お嬢ちゃん、迷子になってるのかい？
I yank off my disguise glasses and strike a pose the kids would like.
シャキーン！
ち、
even her here, when she's supposed to be like, you know, because she talked about how she was very behind, maybe you could say, that all her mental faculties weren't completely together at first. Even now, she's so much Akane. I love it. Did she just click her tongue at me?
なんだよお前、そんな態度は。
She looks completely disinterested. What was with the tongue clicking?
無口だな。言葉ってまだ話せないのか？
She's staring straight at me. Either she's ignoring me or there's some reason why she can't talk.
とにかく連絡するから。
Except I don't have a phone. Oh, right. I call from a nearby public payphone.
千里茜ちゃんを保護したものですけど。
あらあら、どうもすみません。失礼ですが、お名前を伺ってもよろしいかしら。
Oh, right. Iko. Isn't Iko, like, her assistant even in her pathline, right? Like, I'm not, like, I think I remember her. I almost introduced myself without thinking. Should probably hide my identity. It'd be a problem if she got in the way of the operation. Yeah, they might know Tennouji Kotarou.
鈴木ボンドです。とにかく茜ちゃん連れて行きますから。
まあ、お願いできますか？
よし、行こうか。
I walk out of the phone booth and pat Akane in the head as she waits for me.
ち。本当にありがとうございました。
I arrived at a shower of gratitude. She drags me in and even serves me tea.
鈴木さん、お仕事は？
は、芸人です。
I'm terrible at lying on the spot. Absolutely no talent for it.
まあ、芸能人？
駆け出しです。テレビにも出られないくらいのランクです。
修行中なんだ。
そうですね。ところで、この絵西の家ですか？
I gaze around the room.
こう言っちゃなんですけど。
はい。
儲かるんですか？
いいえ、
He's like, are you like in a functioning state? And she's like, no.
あ、そうだ。金一封あげないと。
予算とか苦しいんでしょ。いいですよ。
Iko is stunned.
そんなこと全然ないのよ。昔とは状況もだいぶ変わったの。
そうなので。
待っていてね。
She leaves me on my own. There's an album on the shelf. Enshi House Happy Memories album. Let's have a look. It looks like a collection of commemorative photos from the children of the foster home. There's several dozen of these photos. There's a tradition that stems back even before Iko joined. The kids from the earliest photos were clearly quite poor. It was a small house, more like a shed. The kids wore patchwork clothes and were covered in dirt. The only bright thing were their smiles. So they've been struggling ever since they founded this place. The date when each picture was taken is printed on the photo. Some of them have comments written on them. Year XX, we may be poor, but we're doing great. The neighborhood association donated 8 boxes of used clothes, thank you. Picnic at the nearby park. If you use our imagination, this might even be better than a trip abroad. Oh, that's optimistic. Year XX, we may be poor, but we're still doing great. We made a vegetable garden. No need for groceries now, haha. Year XX, poor, but doing great. Poor, but doing great. That's our catchphrase. Keiko gave birth, and Takeshi graduated from junior high school. Congratulations. Year XX, poor, but doing great. Miss Ijima is in the hospital. Get well soon. Oh, isn't that... Yeah, I think isn't she the one who discovered by accident Lucia's ability? Maybe again, I don't know if I'm misremembering or not. Your XX is always poor but doing great. Miss Iko is now our new caretaker. Huge harvest from our garden. Your XX, poor but doing great. It was tough, but we tried hard.
ここからさらに貧困の一途みたいだな。
XX. The vegetable garden got sick and everything went bad. Oh. Oh wait, so maybe Lucia is not here yet. XX. The washing machine broke down, now we're washing everything. XX. We can only take baths every other day now. The catchphrase poor but doing great stopped showing up. It's like they don't even want anything to do with the phrase anymore. It's as if it emphasizes how they're only pretending to be happy. The pictures speak for themselves. It's around this time the smiles in the pictures start fading. The kids in particular are all expressionless. And this year seems to be when they've hit their hardest. XX. 8 staff and children went to the hospital because of malnutrition. I can't take this anymore.
やべえ。
Jeez, yeah. Fetch me. Seriousness of the situation is making me worried. Even though it's all in the past, it feels like I have to do something for them. I want to help them out, I think to myself as I turn the page. XX. The facility's been rebuilt. We even have air conditioning, heating in the dorms and staff and students. We've got a Benz A-class for our shopping. We gave up on the vegetable garden and bought 2 hectare plots of land nearby. So much land. No more picnics at the park this year. We're going to Europe. Everyone lost it lost it at their first overseas experience. Okay.
どういうことだよ。
Yeah. So, is that when the Martel group stepped in, maybe? So, the caretaker changed, Iko stepped in, and the garden died. I still think those might be related to Lucia, but I'm not 100% on that. And then they'd go from like dirt poor to suddenly having tons of money and resources.
この1年で何があったんだ。
実はね、
だ
She suddenly appears behind me.
マーテル会から資金援助が入るようになったの。知ってる？日本マーテル会。
あの有名な環境保護団体。
Iko tells me about what happened. It all happened after I left the organization. The Enshi house used to be so strapped for cash I couldn't afford to hire anyone. Martel made a huge donation though, and it solved all their money problems.
ベンツ。
A クラスだよ。乗用車。
前は冷暖房なかったんすか。
今は床暖房も壁暖房もトイレ暖房も
Even the toilet.
エコ
Oh,
システムもあるよ。
rolling in it now.
まさかここの裏手にあったもう一つの豪邸みたいのが寮なんですか。
あれは倉庫。
Wow. This place suddenly got a load of money.
金銭問題が解決したのは喜ばしいですね。
Iko's expression suddenly turns grim.
人材は不足がちだけどね。
金で解決できそうですが。
うちの子供たちは少し難しいの。
え？
会話ができない子も多いし、わかるでしょ？
Mm.
社会では生きにくい子たちを預かる施設だから。
そうだったんですか。
That's why Akane's like that.
みんなお話ししたり勉強をしたり自分を管理したりということが苦手ね。人の助けがいる子もいて。
それで人が集まりにくい。
え？
Doesn't look like she's in a dire situation. I guess her job is just to choose someone. The door opens and Akane enters.
赤ちゃん、おいで。
She totters over to Iko and sits on her lap. Aww, Akane should be in the lower grades of elementary school. But her behavior seems immature for her age.
赤ちゃんは芸人のお兄さんが好きなのよね。
Still the same.
舌打ちしましたよ今。
照れてる。
いや、顔ぶっちょですけど。
I'm not good at dealing with her. You never will be. While still seated in Iko's lap, Akane starts nodding off. Okay, well, that's not technically true. He gets to figure her out eventually, but it's not easy. Guess it must feel comfortable for her. Despite having no more issues with money, a shadow still lurks behind Iko's expression. All right. Now that's where we're going to be ending. I thought he was going to offer to help. Like, I thought he was going to volunteer. Maybe that will be in the future, or maybe that's just like all that was ultimately to be a cameo. But that's cool. That's a fun thing to do. So yeah, Now we get to see our first, like, real striving as a member of Guardian. This will be really interesting to see. I'm excited. It's been a really interesting just revelation after revelation. Learning and seeing the training kind of arc end. And I like how, like, after it was all over, Esaka kind of became a source of, like, comedy again. I think it's kind of fun having him bounce between the extremes of being, like, this super crazy, like, strong agent soldier guy and also just a goofball. Like, it's really nice to see that. He reminds me a lot of Kotarou, actually. I feel like that's probably intentional. He's like old man Kotarou, which I do like, so... Alright, well, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for being part of the channel and being able to share this journey with me. As always, it's a pleasure being able to have you here and being able to just kind of revel in the story together. I have no idea how much longer this is going to go for. I don't want it to end, so I'm happy with that. But it still is interesting to see how it's all playing out so far. And I wonder, because, like, my expectation is that he's not going to be too involved with Guardian. And I'm pretty sure Akane is the one he ends up trying to save, and they're kind of establishing a connection here. So I think what's going to happen is that Iko's going to call him saying, like, hey, Akane's gone missing. I've looked for her. I don't know where she is. He's going to go into the forest to try and find her, and he is going to find her, but something's going to happen that's going to lead to him being horrifically injured. Heck, what if Akane, flexing her muscles as a summoner, ends up accidentally attacking him? And Kotori is gonna get involved somehow, so I'm curious. I'm really curious to see how all the strings are gonna connect. So that'll be really fun. Anyway, enough rambling. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel, for just being a part of this wonderful experience. It's good to be recording again. Like, it sounds silly because like it's been just a while. Like, I just took a trip, and yet it's not been that long. It's only been like a few days, but I miss it every time I don't get to record for a little while. So I'm happy to be here. Hope you enjoyed. And until next video watching me up and see me in next. I'll see you there.